Hello, my name is Nick Hershey, and I have created a site called nhsnetwork.org that helps the National Honor Society at a school keep track of volunteer requests, attendance, dues, applications, and more all online. So this is going to be I'm going to demonstrate how you can register a school and then some of the basic features of my website. So let's get started. And for the sake of this example, we're going to use characters from American history. Thus, our admin will be Benjamin Franklin. But when you create this form, you should register it as yourself. Our username will be Ben, our password will be Frank. And as you notice, the Submit Application button was disabled until we filled out all of the forms, all of the required forms. And then down here you should place how many officers there are at your school. At most schools this is about 5 or 6, but for our example we're going to use 2. It's important that you fill out the number of officers correctly because it will determine the number of teams that your school will have, which I'll get into later. And then down here you can select the application requirements for new applicants at your school. And these are things that the applicant must fill out besides basic information when applying. So for our example, we're going to choose they must give their cell phone and write an essay. In the essay, if we hover over the informational image, is a 750 character essay on why he or she wants to be in NHS. They can also have a field to fill out previous volunteer activity or 3 school activities that they have been involved in. But for our American History school, we're just going to require the cell phone and the essay. So let's register our school. Our school is registered. Now we are logged in as Benjamin Franklin, the admin of our American History school. But before we get into the privileges that the admin has, we're going to have someone apply to our school. So the first of 4 people that can use the site is an applicant. That's the first type of user. And to apply to any school, the username is new app and the password is 6 zeros. So let's apply to our school. This is the online application. If you look, the required information, no matter what the applicant is, no matter what the school you're applying to is the school, the student ID, first name, last name, birthday, and grade. Because we marked when we created our school that we wanted the cell phone and the essay to be required, they have an asterisk, and the Submit Application button will only become enabled when they, as well as the basic required information, is filled out. So let's apply as George Washington. We'll make his student ID or username a 1, and that's what he will be logging in as. His first name will be George, his last name will be Washington, his birthday will be January 1st, 1997, and we'll say he's in grade 11. We'll make his cell phone a bunch of 1s. And for all of the cell phone fields, you have to make sure that it is a complete cell phone or else the button won't enable. It can't just be a couple numbers. Make sure you include area code. Now why we want to be in NHS, we'll say I am the first president. Now the Submit Application button is still disabled because it's not 750 characters yet, so we'll copy this until it's 750 characters. And now the other fields are optional. But right now we'll submit our application. And now George Washington has applied to our school. So now we'll log in back as Ben Frank. Remember, so we just showed what the new applicant was. That was the first of 4 people. Now we'll show the second, which is the admin. The admin is the one who created the school, and they have privileges to just about everything. So when we log in as Ben Frank, it will immediately take us to the officer page. This is the page that officers, another type of person who can log in, and admins can see. And from here we can add events, review volunteering requests, mark attendance, keep track of dues, and change our password. However, right now we want to review applications. So here we can see George Washington's application. His ID is what he will be logging in as. His username, it was a 1. He was in grade 11. His birthday, we can see his cell phone, and his essay. And then there is space for the other information, but he did not enter it because it was not required. So we're going to accept him. Now he was accepted, and there are no new applications. So now we can go to the admin page, and this is the page that only admins can see. And we see that George Washington, who now we've accepted, is a member. he can now log in using his username of a 1 and his password of 010197, because that is his birthday in month, day, year format. Now, instead of going through and applying as a bunch of other members, we're going to use the admin page's Create Members panel to create some more members. This is what you as a school could do if you wanted to start using the site right now in your first year. You want to add all of the current seniors, or if there's someone who can't go through the application process because they don't have internet access and they still applied through paper. This is basically just an easier, faster way for you to add members if you don't want someone to go through the full application process. So we'll say our username will be a 2, and now we'll add John Adams. We'll say his birthday is the 2nd, just to keep things consistent. Now we'll also add Thomas Jefferson as 3rd president. January 3rd is his birthday. And this birthday panel, whenever you're registering someone or someone's applying, it always goes to about 15.5 years back. So we'll do one more, I guess. James Madison. Okay, so now we have 4 members, and if you look, they've been placed on 2 teams. Now these 2 teams correspond to the 2 officers we have. When we registered the school, we said we were going to have 2 officers, so it's placing, every time we add a new member, it's placing that member in the team number with the least number of current members. So because we have 2 teams, right now there are 2 people on each team, it'll place someone in team 1, but if we add another one, it'll place them on team 2. So now that we have 4 members and no officers, let's add 2 officers. So we'll add George Washington and John Adams as officers. And while it's loading, the officers will be the ones there'll be 1 officer in charge of each team. The team format is something that my school has implemented to help increase participation, and teams are a nice way to get everyone competing because you get points for attending events and for your volunteering, but I'll get into that later. So now we have 2 officers and 4 members, but it's only showing the members here that are not officers. So now George Washington and John Adams are both officers. Alright, so now let's go through what an officer can do. So we'll log out and log in as George Washington, who is now an officer. So his username was a 1 because he was the first president, and his password was his birthday, which we put as January 1st, 1997. Alright, so now it's logging George Washington in, and it will take us to the officer page. And here's the officer page. So here, member admins can also see the officer page. And here we can add an event name, so we'll add July 4th, on July 4th. And we'll say the description is come see fireworks. Now we'll submit that. And now we can give some people some attendance points. In my school we decided that 1 attendance point was for attending a general meeting, whereas 3 attendance points was for attending an NHS event. So we'll give James Madison and John Adams 1 attendance point. And now if you look, they both have 1 attendance point. And here are all the current members. They have not yet paid their dues. You have to pay dues once a year in my school, so we'll say James Madison just came in and he paid his dues. So we logged his dues. And then down here we can change our personal bio. So as George Washington, we'll select a picture. And we'll say his bio is, I am the first president. His title will be president. We'll say he's the president of NHS. And his contact info we'll say is a bunch of 1s. And now let's update his bio. There's some information about the picture. And now he can change his password if he'd like, but we're not going to do that right now. Alright, so as you can see from the officer page, which also admins can access, they can add events, review volunteering requests, which right now we have none, add attendance points, marked dues logged, and because we marked James Madison's dues logged, he no longer shows up down here. change their own personal bio, and they can change their password. And then from here they can go to the site homepage. But from the homepage we're going to log out, and we'll show what the homepage looks like as a general member. So right now we'll log in as Thomas Jefferson, or let's log in as James Madison. So this is the fourth and final person you can log in as. The first was a new applicant, the second was the admin, the third was an officer, and now we're just a general member. The person who applied was originally George Washington, the admin is Benjamin Franklin, the officer we logged in as once George Washington had been promoted to an officer by the admin, and now we're logged in as just a general member. They go to the site homepage. And what you first see is a notification panel, and it will show us that George Washington has marked our dues paid, and thus we got 5 points, and that George Washington has awarded us 1 attendance point. So now if we click on, we can see the upcoming events, and we see the July 4th that George Washington created. And if we hover over the information tab, there will be the description, come see fireworks. And on our calendar, today is marked in red, tomorrow in orange, this week is yellow, but there are no days that can be shown in yellow, and then next week is green. Next we can go to the Submit Hours panel, and from here we can submit volunteer requests that you can see from the officer page that officers can accept. So we type in this information, and it will show up in the officer page, and they can accept it. Next we can click on officers and just see some short bios about the officers. So here's George Washington. We can see the information that we typed and the picture that we added for our bio, and then we can see that John Adams has yet to change his login information. Next we can see the leaderboard. The leaderboard deals with those teams that we talked about. We marked 2 teams, and the 2 officers are George Washington and John Adams, and John Adams' team has 7 points because of James Madison's dues being logged and some of the attendance points they have. So here it shows us that our team, the team that we logged in as James Madison, how many points we have. We are on team 2, and we are first place by the number of total points. It tells us that we get 5 points for paying our dues, 3 points for attending an event organized by NHS, 1 point for attending a normal meeting, and 1 point for every 5 hours of volunteer work. So we've just found that this leaderboard is a way that helps members get inspired and competitive to go out in the community and volunteer and make sure they're involved attending NHS meetings. Next over here, right under the notifications, here's the notifications again, we can pull them back out. But here we have the discussion board. Now there are 2 discussion boards. There's My School, where we can write something in here, and anyone in my school can see it. The discussion boards are public. But once we submit it, now it shows our name, our message, the time that we made it, and the ability to comment. If we hit comment, a drop down will come down, and we can put a comment. And we can also delete our comments or our original whatever we wrote in the discussion board, and if we delete them, it will delete all comments of that post. So that was the My School discussion board. We can also go to the public discussion board, and there you can see anything that any school posts. So if we ever want to organize NHS events that span multiple schools, or if your NHS did something that really helped people get involved or help the community, you can post about it here, and any school can see it. So those are the basics of the website, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, email hershey@nhsnetwork.org. Thank you.